Hello guys, Tash and I'm back on our video, and today, welcome back, and today we'll be taking a look at a new theory I came up with, that is, Fade is a different part, or a different version of Drift from a different timeline. Now, before I get into the theory, I just want to admire this skin. I want to say that Epic, you did a very good job with this skin. A lot of you in the comment section may say to me, but Toxic, the only reason why you love this skin is because it has like a little drift thing. Well, I have to say, honestly, yes, I do really love this skin because it has a little drift, but I remember back in Season X where the first female or Catalyst came out back in Season X, and I had to analyze it. I was so happy of that, so happy. And I'm so happy now too that Epic actually decided to just remake the feel that Drift has with just like I love it. Okay, so today we'll be renewing one of my old series that I had. It's where I used to take a look at origins back in Season X and what timeline and stuff like that. But in this episode, well, in this new renewed series, I'm thinking I'm just going to take a look at things I find weird. So let's get into this theory. So what makes me think that this may be a different Drift from a different timeline? Well, this is going to be a long theory, so maybe we put into two-parters as well. So the thing is that this is so back in Season X, right? We've only seen about two dimensions of drifts. We've seen the catalyst and our dimension. Okay, now in this, and now also we've also only seen three visitors. Three visitors: our visitor, the buff visitor, and the female visitor. Now the female visitor is obviously in the dimension, and visitor. Now, as we know, there is 7 dimensions. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Fade was one of the drifts from one 7 dimensions, because we haven't actually seen any other character from any other 7 dimensions. Because if there's 7 dimensions, there's 7 different versions of all the characters in Fortnite so far. So, when am I even talking about at this point that Fade is a different Drift? Now, Fade to me resembles more Drift because I feel like his style and how Drift is, but that has improved nothing, right? So there only is 7 timelines, and we've seen 3 visitors, but only 2 drifts. Now, I think that making Fade one of the 7 drifts would fit actually in, because we've seen only 3 visitors, but not 3 drifts yet. So it makes sense that this is actually one of the drifts. And also, another thing that I just want to point out here is that take a look at now, before actually just give me here. Correct me if I'm wrong, okay? But the Kitsune mask is actually from Japan. You always be saying that, but Drift and Catalyst have a Kitsune mask, but Fade doesn't. So how could Fade be one of the drifts? Well, as we know, the Kitsune mask is actually from, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Japan. Okay, people? And Samurai, now Samurai is from Japan, and if I pull up Fade's full form outfit, I tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me that Fade's mask does not look Drift-esque. Just does not tell me that like Fade's mask looks like a samurai mask that you see. Like, just tell me that. I'm actually serious. Someone tell me that, because I see that a Kitsune mask and the geography of the samurai and Kitsune mask work out perfectly. Now, obviously, next thing's next. Let's take a look at his glider. Now, the glider that we have here for my dude is actually a very, very, very screwed topic. As we can see that this is a glider formed from crystals of probably the butterflies or some kind of the rifts. Now, there's only been, I think, there's only been two things that has shown that's been connected. Only two skins actually has been connected to the orb and the rifts, and like the in between. That's the dream skin and the lumina skin. And not to say that there's only been one glider so far that's been actually connected to the orb and the in between, and that was the arcane glider, I think, that back in season 8. So seeing this in the battle pass that has no connection to the lore or anything at all, it's making me kind of it's kind of like, this has to be something to do with time. And not to say that we've actually seen rifts open up, but in this game so far, if I turn our attention to the Marauder group, or the Marauder gang, I don't know, they actually come out of a rift in the sky when you start the game. Now, how could they have done this? There's no hop rocks on this map. There's absolutely no power source so far that actually could do this. Because on this map, we haven't seen no one else actually use time travels right now. Well, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty wrong. Because if I'm right, so how did they do this actually, the Marauder group? Well, obviously the Marauder group had to have some kind of time travel ability, or they came from a dimension where time was already a little frisky. Now, I can tell you straightforward that the dimension that we've seen these guys came out of from, or the rift that they came from their own dimension. Now, here my backup claim. What if I told you we've seen this dimension before in Fortnite? You may think I'm crazy, but actually I'm right. If we take a look back in Season X, and if we take a look at the wrestler back in Season X, he came from a dimension that was destroyed, that was Apocalypse, basically. Now, if I don't know about you, but I can definitely see the Marauder group being from that dimension. And as we know, time was colliding would make sense. So I'm going to say that since back in Season X, the Marauder group was probably from that dimension, they got transported instead from the past to the future, making them in this here in chapter 2, season 3. Now, you were saying, what does it have to do with Drift and the Catalyst and the Fade skin? Well, I want to turn your attention back to Fade's back bling now. Fade's back bling is called the Infinite Blossom. Now, that and the description, I forgot what it says something on the lines that for everywhere and for always, I'm pretty sure. So basically saying forever, everywhere, and always. It's basically saying for like ever, and I can't think this right now. So what would this obviously mean? So I'm gonna think that this has to do something with time, obviously, from the effect and how it looks. It has to be a connection to the orb, right? Well, let me turn your attention now to his loading screen. His loading screen name is Beyond Zero, and as I take a little closer look, you can see that on top of him is the blossom, or the flower. And as we take a little more closer, is that a ball inside there? Wait a minute. So could this mean that the flower is the starting point of the orb, or could it mean that the orb is originating from that? Well, I don't really. It's pretty possible, but I don't think that the orb comes from a flower, because as we know, Loot Lake was there from the beginning, and that means that the freaking vault was under there ever since Loot Lake was there, and that's why Kevin back season 5 was drawn to it, because the orb. And as I take my thing, Hop Rock equal Kevin equal no Hard Rock equal Rift equal Kevin equal Orb. So if Kevin is a part of the Rift, Kevin will be drawn back to Loot Lake. But so most likely, I'm gonna say that just to finish off this episode, and we'll pick it up next time. I'm gonna say that Fade is one of the drifts, definitely, no doubt in my eyes, and the evidence is there. I have a lot of evidence to cover, so next episode we'll talk about probably more things and how it fits into the storyline, and maybe I can unmask one of the visitors, because there is actually a lot of evidence that one of the visitors from season X is one of the Battle Pass skins in my eyes. So I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.